Okay, good morning everybody. We are from group 3. We'll present about our mini research. But it better if we introduce ourselves. My name is Buana Verneka Hutayan and my partner are Susan Marbun, Dewanti Haryanja, and Sola Gracia Silalai. And our title is Contrastive Analysis of Noun Phrase in English and Indonesia. And I here will present about chapter 1 is about the introduction about our research. The first is the background of the research. We do this research is because there are some problems that found in native and target language, and we can predict that the problem is caused by the difference language between native and target language, and it's because before the learner becomes familiar with the system of the second language, the native language is the only linguistic system. So because of the problem, we as researcher wants to know differences and similarities of noun phrase in native language and target language. Especially we want to identify about two languages is English and Indonesia, and we want to know the little thing of those two languages in noun phrase. And noun phrase is a group of words that work together to name and describe a person, place, thing, or idea of something. And when we look at the structure of writing, we treat a noun phrase the same way we treat a common noun. Noun phrase often function a verb, subject, and object as predicative expressions and as the complement of prepositions. And now we go to the second is about the problem of the research. The problem of the research is what is a contrastive analysis of noun phrase between Indonesia and English, and the objective of our research is we want is to know the contrastive analysis between Indonesia and English, especially in noun phrase. And the limitation of our research is to make the research will be easy to make, so we will focus on a noun phrase between Indonesia and language, especially in Tobalek story and the significance of our research. We hope that this mini research will help the reader to understanding about the differences and similarities of noun phrase in English and Indonesia, and the other researchers can make our research to be their reference to make the specific research. Okay, that's about chapter 1. Thank you.
Morning everybody. I want to explain about the chapter 2 literature of review. A. Contrastive analysis. Contrastive analysis is the systematic study of a pair of language with a view to identifying their structure different and similar. Contrastive analysis is the study and comparison of two languages, learner target language and learner native language. B. Noun phrase. Hutchinson, 2005, said that noun phrase is setting aside a narrow range expression, simply a phrase with a noun as a head. Noun phrase in English. Noun phrase in English is a phrase that has a noun or identified pronoun as its head perform the same grammatical function as a noun. Some example: the first, the election year's politics are annoying for many people. The second, current economic weakness may be a result of high energy price. Non-praise can be identified by the possibility of pronoun substitution. The illustrate the first example, the sentence contains two noun praise. It means it contains them. The second, the subject noun praise that is present is this sentence is long. It means it is a long. The next, noun praise in English. Noun praise are modifier praise consisting of noun as a parent and other expression element that have subordinative relationship with the parent. The namely adjective, verbal, numerical, demonstrative, pronominal, articular, prepositional phrase, and phrase with article, and other phrase. Nominal phrase are divided into three parts. The first, nominative modification phrase. Example, small house, Sunday, book, two books, and campus yacht. The second, coordinative noun phrase. Example, right and obligation, the afterlife, inner and outer, and propreroge. And the last, a positive noun phrase. Positive noun phrase example, Samosi, Brastagi, their driver. C. Contrastive analysis of noun phrase between Indonesia and language. Carr said that English possesses some form of phrase. Noun phrase or noun and noun phrase or NP, verb phrase or VP, adjective phrase or AP, adverb phrase or AVP, and prepositional phrase or PP. In Indonesia language, consists of phrase nomina or noun phrase or NP, phrase verbal or verb phrase or VP, phrase adjective or adjective phrase or AP. The history of Lake Toba. You can see the paper number 6, the example of history Lake Toba. Thank you. Example, right and obligation, the afterlife, inner and outer, and propreroge. And the last, a positive noun phrase. Positive noun phrase example, Samosi, Brastagi, their driver. C. Contrastive analysis of noun phrase between Indonesia and language. Carr said that English possesses some form of phrase. Noun phrase or noun phrase or NP, verb phrase or VP, adjective phrase or AP, adverb phrase or AVP, and prepositional phrase or PP. In Indonesia language, consists of phrase nomina or noun phrase or NP, phrase verbal or verb phrase or VP, phrase adjective or adjective phrase or AP. The history of Lake Toba. You can see the paper number 6, the example of history Lake Toba. Thank you.
Continue chapter 3, research methodology. A. Research design. The design that will be used is qualitative research. Qualitative research is an inquiry approach useful for exploring and understanding a central phenomenon. To learn about this phenomenon, the inquirer asks participants broad and general questions, collects the detailed view of participants in the form of word or image, and analyze the information for description and theme. B. The instrument of research. In this part of instrument of the data, the research used a fairy tale story to support in analyzing the constructive. They are using a fairy tale story to balik for noun. Phrase in Indonesian and the instrument that the researcher use is noun phrase of English. C. Technique of collecting data. Data collecting is very important work in the research. So I must determine what method is used to get the data. The research methodology use content analysis by applying specific research questions, selecting a sample of document to analyze, developing a category, conducting content analysis, and interpreting the research result. B. The analyzing of data. The research methodology use content analyzing by applying the procedure as following: applying specifying research question, selecting a sample of document to analyze, developing a category, conducting content analysis, and interpreting the research result.
Hello my friend, I am Susan Marbon. I will explain about chapter 4 and chapter 5. In chapter 4 is talking the result of analysis and chapter 5 is talking about conclusion. So in chapter 4 I will explain you 2 points. The first is the similarities and differences between English and Indonesian non-press. The first I will talk you about the similarities. There are 2 points that can be measured. The similarities between English and Indonesian non-press that can be seen from Tobalek's story. The first is about based on the function. There are 3 points based on the function that can be measured. The first is a subject. For example, his wife agreed with his request. So you can see from these sentences, his wife agreed with his request. His wife, that is the example of noun phrase in English. And then in Indonesia, istrinya itu, that is include to noun phrase too. And then the second is the beautiful girl was so angry. The beautiful girl that can we see, the beautiful girl that is include to noun phrase. And then in Indonesia it can be translated as gadis yang cantik. But both of them has the same function as subject, and the second is as object. For example, I will tell you he got the big fish. From story of Tobalek, there are sentences that stated he got the big fish. The big fish here is function as object. They have the similarities in English and Indonesia, that both of them has the same function as object. And then the third is based on the function as complement, noun phrase as complement. His wife turned into a big fish again. So a big turned into a fish again. So here a fish is example of noun phrase. Example of noun phrase. We can translate it in Indonesia. A fish is seekor ikan. Jadi we know that phrase is the component of words. So they are the noun phrase that has the similarities as complement in Indonesia and in English. And then the second point, the similarities that can be measured is based on the modifier. Based on the modifier in English and Indonesia, they have same modifier. Most of them is adjective. For example, a young man, seorang pria yang muda in Indonesia, that include two adjective. So do it in English. And then his wife, his here can, that is the pronoun. And then in Indonesia, istrinya, istri dia, that is include to kata ganti. So they have the same similarities based on the modifier. And then the second is the differences between English and Indonesia noun phrase. There are some of differences. The first is about the position of the head. So the position of the head in English is in front. The modifier is in front of the head, while in Indonesia the head is before the modifier. For example, a young man, seorang pria yang muda. A young man. So we can know from this sentence that young, that is placed before the head of noun phrase, man and young. And then the second is and then in Indonesia, pria yang muda. So the first stated is the noun and then the modifier. And then another example, his wife, his hood. In Indonesia, topinya, istrinya. So the meaning here, that is the position of the head in Indonesia is before modifier, and then the position of the modifier in English is in front of the head. That is the differences between both of them that can be measured. And then I will explain you about the conclusion. So the conclusion of our research about contrastive analysis between English and Indonesia noun phrase from Tobalik's story is that there are two similarities between noun phrase in English and Indonesia. The first is based on the function as subject, object, and complement, and the second is based on the modifier. And then the difference is the position of the head. And then the position of the head. And then my friend, in English, the position of the head is before, in front of modifier, and then in Indonesia, the position of the head is in front of the head of noun phrase. Example in English, a young man, young modifier, man noun. Indonesia, pria yang muda, pria sebagai nominal, muda sebagai adjective. So that's all about our explanation about chapter. That's all about our explanation about chapter 1 up to 5. If we have much mistaken, please forgive us, and if you heard some voice, please ignore it. Thank you for your attention. I hope you watch this. Bye bye.